So the process, if I understand you correctly, is that you went in there, you had a conversation with Jennifer.
Correct.
You went home or went wherever, you filled out the application online, answering whatever questions. Does the application ask you for any information, or was that a later conversation? In other words,
Ask me
does the
the
application, attach a
it didn't
copy
ask
of
me.
this or a
No,
copy of that?
once I once I turned in my husband's check stubs, there were phone calls and emails made requesting additional information.
Okay,
And on
but
the side,
the application itself did not ask you to submit any of that documentation?
no, the only thing it asked for was my check stubs. It did not ask me for anything else.
Okay. And you couldn't submit check stubs because you don't have check stubs?
Correct.
Okay. So you were able to submit your husband's check stubs?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So then when they don't have any check stubs from you, that's when the phone calls started and said, hey, we need this other information.
Correct.
And that's when you had to tell them, I've got an extension on my taxes. I haven't filed my tax.
I told her that jump start. I went in and I told her all of that in the
Okay.
conversation.
All right. And then, so what additional information were they asking for? You said that they kept calling, asking for this, asking for that. What other kind of stuff were they asking for?
They were asking for my my rental history, which I could not give that to them. They got it directly from the apartment where I live. They
Okay.
sent that. Then she called back and said, I need a profit and loss statement. I paid to have that done. Sent them that.
Okay,
Then
I'm going to hold off right there. The profit and loss statement, that came from your accountant?
correct.
Okay, and was it on your accountant's letterhead?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so the profit, okay, so your accountant letterhead,
Mm-hmm.
listing your business,
Mm-hmm.
and it had the profit loss statement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you turned that in. Okay, now what else did they ask for?
Then they asked me for my taxes.
Okay, and so now we get to the taxes again. So that's where you give them the 2021, okay?
Correct.
But you can't
Mm-hmm.
do 2022 for your husband and you file jointly because you have an extension.
Correct.
Okay, what else did they ask for?
I believe that was it.
Okay, so it takes you a while to get all this stuff. It's going back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then how did they tell you that you don't qualify for the apartment?
An email was sent, but before I read the email, I had called Jennifer to ask her what's going on.
Okay. And what happened in
And
that call?
the conversation was I was denied because it went over a week's time, which I was never told it was going to be they don't hold it after a week. That was never told to me.
Okay.
So she said, it's I'm so sorry. I tried to push it through, but your income, the problem is your income. And I asked her, why did you not ask me for my bank statements up front if that's all? Why are you telling me now that I can go back and reapply and this time give my my 2 or 3 years worth of bank statements when you could have asked me for that up front?
All right. So she told you you could reapply, and then submit bank statements if you don't have your taxes.
Correct.
Okay. And did you reapply?
No, ma'am,
Okay.
because by then I called right away. I called prepaid legal, and they
Okay.
instructed me that I was done wrong.
Okay. All right. Now, did anybody, so they're telling you the reason is your income. You don't have sufficient income, or proof of sufficient income. They didn't tell you
Mhm.
this up front, but they're
No,
telling you
ma'am.
this. They're telling you this now. Did
Hmm.
anybody make any derogatory comments or in regards to you being African American or being a woman?
No, ma'am. As a matter of fact, Jennifer told me when we were going back and forth, she was constantly apologizing, and she was saying, since COVID, we've had to change some things around here. She said that to me.
Okay. Is there all right? Is there anything else you want to tell me about what happened that we have not already talked about?
Um, no, just my comments concerning it. Nothing that um happened, just, my afterthoughts. That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, those were all the questions I have for you. Attorney Cook may have some questions for you now, okay?
Sure.
It's
Thank
called
you, Your Honor.
cross-examination, and you're going to ask questions of his witnesses when he calls his, okay? So,
Sure.
all right. Attorney
Uh,
Cook?
Thank you, Your Honor. And first, before I get into the cross-examination at this time, I would move for a directed verdict of a finding of no probable cause. Miss Beverly's most recent answered question is that there was no derogatory statements. I don't believe that there's any evidence here that my client in any way discriminated based on Miss Beverly's race or her sex. And so I'd ask for a directed verdict of a finding of no probable cause at this point.
Well, I'm going to take it under advisement, but we're not going to do that.
I
Okay.
understand. Thank you. Miss
Miss
Beverly.
Beverly? Oh, she just left. All right. Not sure what happened. And I don't know why she just left. Let's see if we can get her back. All right. See if I can. Miss Beverly? Oh, there you are. Can you hear me? Miss Beverly, can you hear? Attorney Cook, can you hear me?
I can, Your Honor.
Okay, Miss Beverly, can you hear me? Can you hear me, ma'am? I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but we can't hear you. Whoops, and there she goes again.
Hello?
Oh, good. Miss Beverly, you're back.
I'm
All
so
right.
sorry I got
No,
knocked
that's
off.
okay. I was trying to figure out what had happened, and we tried calling you, but you don't have a voicemail set up. So,
Sorry.
all right, just so long as you're back. Now, where we left off, Attorney Cook had moved for directed verdict. I denied that request, take it under advisement, but we're going to continue with this case. Okay. Did you hear all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Attorney Cook.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Beverly, and I had previously filed several exhibits in this matter, and I'm going to have some questions for you on these exhibits. Do you have those in front of you?
Oh, we're going to show them on the screen, sir. That's
Oh,
how we
wonderful.
look at all this, okay?
All right.
So, and we use ERD numbers, so you just tell me what the number is, and if you can't pull them up, I will.
All right. I am going to focus first on ERD pages 102 to 114.
All right.
This is Exhibit 1, the application.
All right. Let me pull this up. And all right. Okay, can everybody see this?
I can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, Attorney Cook.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Beverly, I am going to represent to you that this is the application that you provided to Riverwood Estates Apartments, which is the application which gives rise to this matter today. Your testimony earlier was that Riverwood Estates Apartments asked on the application for a designation as to your race. Can you point to me where on the Exhibit 1 application there is a field asking you for your race?
And I can scroll down through it. This is
Mm-hmm.
page 1. This is page 2. And this is page 3, which is your husband's information. How far did you want this exhibit to go, sir? Because it seems like it is whole lot longer than 105 or 104.
102 to 114. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
114. Okay. Okay. So this is emergency information.
I don't see that.
Okay. All right.
So, Ms. Beverly, then, do do you want to correct your testimony from earlier
Sure,
where you
will.
indicated that?
Okay, so,
Yes, I will correct that.
okay, so there is no race on the application. All right.
No, yeah.
All right. And then I'm going to ask the same question with respect to your sex. Is there a field on this application anywhere that asks for your sex?
No.
Okay. So would you like to correct your testimony from earlier where your indication was that Riverwood Estates Apartments asked on the application for you to provide your sex?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. And then if we could turn to what has been marked as Exhibit 4, this starts on ERD 120.
Okay, way we do this is this exhibit right here. I take them one at a time. All right. So this is respondent's first exhibit. So it's exhibit number 1. And we use the Bates numbers, which are ERD 102 to 114, which is the application for the apartment. That's how I'm going to title it. That has been marked as exhibit 1. Are you asking that this be offered into evidence, Attorney Cook?
I am, and I have my witness who will be able to authenticate it on our case.
That's fine. Miss Beverly, do you have any objection to this exhibit being admitted into evidence?
No.
Hearing no objection, it will be admitted. Okay, now, as to respondent's second exhibit, what page are we looking at?
All right, this would be starting at ERD 120.
All right.
And this is a lengthy exhibit. It goes through ERD 168.
Okay, ERD 120 to 168?
Correct, Your Honor.
And what is this that we're looking at?
This is Miss Beverly's 2020 income tax return. And again, I will represent that this is what Miss Beverly provided to Riverwood Estates Apartments as her tax return to provide them evidence of income.
Okay. So this is for the year 2020, not 2021. Is that correct?
That's correct, and I'm going to have some clarification questions to make sure we understand why we're looking at the 2020 income taxes.
Okay, just tell me what pages you want.
We're going to start on ERD 129, which is the 1040 page 1.
Okay. There we go.
All right. Ms. Beverly, your testimony was that you applied for the unit at Riverwood Estates Apartments in July of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, your indication was that you had filed an extension for your taxes that would have been due in the year 2022, correct?
Yes.
And because the IRS taxes are due in April for the prior year, I understand the testimony earlier was that you had provided the 2021 tax returns, but I believe because of the timing of this, it was the 2021 tax returns for which you had filed an extension, and it was the 2020 tax returns that you provided to respondent. Does that sound correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so all of your testimony earlier where you were talking about the 2021 tax returns, I believe you were actually talking about the 2020 tax returns. Is that correct?
Correct.
And with that slight correction, do you have any changes to what you said about those returns?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, there was the income difference.
Okay, so what is reflected on the 2020 returns might be a little bit different from what is on the 2021 returns, correct?
Correct.
But the 2020 returns were the returns that were available to you in July of 2022, and those were what you provided Riverwood Estates Apartments,
Yeah,
correct?
correct.
Okay, so if I'm looking at ERD page 129, which is up on our screen here, I see wages, salaries, tips, etc. of $32,687. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your testimony earlier was your husband, Sean Beverly's income
Mm-hmm.
from his W-2 position, from his job where he gets a paycheck and a W-2 each year, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Then if I scroll down and look at line 8, other income, I see a negative figure here, negative 3320. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what that number represents?
No. Let me
Okay.
see. That's showing in the red, right?
I went into law because I'm not a tax expert, man. I'm asking you. That's what I'm trying to figure out what that negative 3320 is.
I I don't know what that is. I didn't say. Oh, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Do you know where on this form your income from your business is found?
Not off top. No.
Okay. I'm going to ask the judge to scroll a few pages to ERD 132, please. All right, and this appears to be the Schedule C, which is a profit or loss from business that was filed with the 2020 tax returns. Does that sound right, Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
Okay, and if I'm looking at this, this is for the New Direction Service Beauty Salon, correct? So this is your hair salon business, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that shows income, gross receipts for 2020 of 18,420, and that's on line 1, correct?
Correct.
And then you have part 2, which talks about all of the expenses, and that is totaled on line 28, and that figure is 18,451. Do you see that?
Yes.
So in 2020, your business had a loss of $31 as reported to the IRS. Is that correct?
Okay. You know what? I never noticed that. But it's on here. So yeah.
Okay, so based on this, in the year 2020, the business was not profitable.
Okay.
And if I go back 3 pages to ERD 129, and look at line 9,
Okay.
your total income for 2020 is 29,367, correct?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I don't have any further questions on the ERD page 120 to 168, which I believe we will mark as now Exhibit 2, and I would ask that that be offered and accepted into evidence.
Any objection, Miss Beverly?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Hearing no objection, that's going to be admitted as well.
All right, then if I could pull up ERD 178.
One moment. There we go. 178, you said?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not seeing it on my screen. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
All right, Ms. Beverly, I'm going to represent to you again that this is the document that Riverwood Estates Apartments received from you as your profit and loss statement. Does this look like the document that you provided to them?
It does.
Okay. Now, your testimony earlier was that this profit and loss statement was on your accountant's letterhead. Can you show me where on this document it is on your accountant's letterhead?
You know what? It's not.
So do you want to correct your earlier testimony that the profit and loss statement that you provided to my client was on your accountant's letterhead?
Okay, sure.
Okay. I have no further questions regarding document or ERD 178 at this time, Your Honor, so I would again move it into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
Okay. Hearing no objection, it is admitted.
All right, and then can we go to ERD 180?
Sure. Let me, do I need to make that smaller? Yeah, hold on. So we can see the whole thing. There we go.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Beverly, again, I'm going to represent to you that this is the email that Ms. McKelly sent to you. It looks like on Friday, July 15th, indicating that your application was being denied because of the lack of substantiating documents supporting your income, and that offering you the opportunity to reapply with documentation. Does that look like the email you received?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And so, again, this email suggests that if you were to provide 2 years worth of bank statements showing your actual deposits only, and if you were able to get that information to Ms. McKelly, she can get you reapplied and that there would not be any processing fee charged to you. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And your testimony earlier was that you did not reapply or provide the 2 years of bank statements to Ms. McKelly or to Riverwood Estates Apartments.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no additional questions at this time regarding ERD 180 and would therefore again move that into evidence, please.
Any objections?
No.
Hearing no objections, it will be admitted.
All right, Miss Beverly, the judge had asked you these questions, and I'm not sure I completely understood your answers to them. What is it that makes you believe that Riverwood Estates Apartments discriminated against you on the basis of your sex?
Because they denied me. And I felt like I was denied from my presentation, not just on the application, but to Jennifer.
Okay, and what does it suggest to you that it was your presentation that was the ultimate grounds for the denial, and not the fact that you weren't able to substantiate your self-employed income?
Because I'm such a strong woman. That's why. The information I gave her regarding myself as a woman.
Okay, and then I'll ask the same question. What is it that suggests to you that Riverwood Estates Apartments denied you on the basis of your race?
Because there was no reason to deny me. There was no reason that I was not asked initially for the 2 years worth of bank statements. That was the smoke screen.
Okay, I have no further questions on cross-exam, Your Honor.
Okay. Actually, sorry, I need to take some notes. Okay. All right. Miss Beverly, at this point, you don't have any witnesses. You don't have anything like that. He is done cross-examining you, but this is the time for you to do some type of rebuttal. If there was anything that you were asked by me or by Attorney Cook,
Sure.
or that you just need to clarify, or that you want to expand upon, now's the time to do it. Okay.
Okay. So as far as the questions that he asked me concerning the race on the application and the sex, as well as the profit and loss statements, I thought that I did were asked those questions. It's been 2 years. However, you're showing me on my 2020 taxes that I was in the negative, but that was 2020. In 2021, if you would have asked me for my bank statements, you would have saw the income coming in and it wasn't at a loss. So again, why would you wait until the end of the process to ask me for 2 years worth of bank statements, which I also feel like that was extreme. And so did Prepaid Legal, as well as Oak Shore Apartments. That was extremely extreme to ask me for 2 years worth of statements. I had more than enough money. I have more than enough money in my bank account, and it would have showed that I sold my home and I had more than enough money to pay for my rent. You had my rental history. Never was I late. I paid my rent. I never have given Oak Shore any problems. So there was no reason. Those are okay. You're finding little things to deny me for. There was no reason to deny me, period. So I feel like I was unjustly handled.
Thank you very much. Okay, so at that time, that wraps up Ms. Beverly's portion of this case. It is now time for Attorney Cook for you to present your portion of the case. It is 10:45. Why don't we take a brief 15-minute break? Don't anybody log off. Just mute yourself and just kind of hang out, okay? And that'll give you enough time, Miss Attorney Cook, to get your witness.
I am reaching out to her presently. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.